Hey, this is We Called It, coming off a great week in week one. We absolutely killed it across the board and everything. This might have been our best week ever. I started off 5-1 with my picks. Ken was 3-1, a 4-1 asterisk because he threw in a pick late. And then Anthony came in hot, fresh off the bench, going 4-2. And then our best ball team, we drafted. Follow us on Facebook. It's all out there. We are up in our league by like 40 points. You, Tyreek Hill, and Brandon Ayuk. Absolutely crushing it. Hopefully we can continue that hot streak into week two. We were going to have Connor back. He had a little bit of a dog issue. Hopefully everything's okay there. But for now, it is still the red hot team from week one. First off, Dr. Kenneth Call is here. How are you, Ken?
Doing good. Glad to be a part of Team Red Hot. Also undefeated in every one of my fantasy leagues. So great week one.
Yeah, I am too, at a solid 2-0. Thank you, Tyreek Hill, once more. Anthony, how are you doing?
Wish I could say the same about my fantasy teams. Didn't do as good as him, 1-3. But that's what happens when all your first round picks go down. I mean, it's tragic.
You know what? You should give the listeners a taste of our new soundboard. Can you play that shame bell that we have?
Shame.
Just it was no good. I'm tanking. I'm going in the tank after week one. All my fantasy leagues, I've already sent out the messages. $20, any player you want. I need to get my money back. But no, I'm happy to get my picks right and my pick'ems. That's all I care about right now. It's all about hitting my my beloved picks.
The best thing about those is you can roll those over week to week. So we'd give reactions to week one, but it's pretty much all been covered. Aaron Rodgers is tragic news. We'll see what they do at quarterback. There's tons and tons of options, and we can speculate. Jameis Winston, Cam Newton, sticking with Zach Wilson. Rather than do all that, we are going to be talking about our picks right into week two, and that is simply because most of our picks are a reflection of what happened in week one. So I think our number one pick for this week, it's unanimous across the board. Anthony, you got that little sound drop for this? That's right. We're all going with Cleveland on Monday Night Football. After a red-hot start, crushing the Bengals, we're following it up to destroy Kenny's small hands. Ken, you have anything to say about this?
Simple. Just because Pittsburgh did well in the preseason doesn't mean anything in the regular season. Man, San Francisco, we hyped them up all offseason, but, that was a little bit of that, but more so, Pittsburgh was just not ready. And then they got an injury to Deontay Johnson. Kenny Pickett, he has a long way to go. And coming off of last week, yes, I am following the hype train on the Cleveland Browns defense. I don't think there's going to be any room for Kenny Pickett to breathe it, and I think that you're going to see something similar from the Pittsburgh offense this week as last week. Not going to look good there. Browns offense didn't look that great, but there's a lot of room to improve, and I don't think it'll matter this week.
All right, I'm getting tired of people saying the Browns offense didn't look good. The Bengals offense didn't look good. When the weather's that bad, I'm not going to be like, oh, Deshaun, you suck because you played like garbage. Joe Burrow was trash, and we all know he's not trash. So the weather got the best of everyone. Anthony, anything else to add?
For all the people riding the Browns like we are, don't be scared when they come out a little slow on offense to start. We are missing Conklin. That's going to hurt us a little bit. Got a rookie tackle going up against TJ Watt. It's going to be rough to start, but I'm sure Stefanski's got a scheme for that. We just need to stick to running the ball, and then when Watson needs to make plays, he's going to make plays. And then they're missing guys on defense. Hayward's hurt, I think, for 4 weeks, so He's going to be out this week. I think, like you said, the Niners, we expected them to be good. We didn't think they were going to be that good week one, but damn, were they good. And I think it's a little bit of the Steelers stink. I have a lot of Steelers friends, a lot of Steeler fan friends, because I live in Cleveland, and they just infest Cleveland for some reason. They're not confident going into this week. And no one's trash talking. That's when you know it's bad. They're scared. So you ride the damn Browns. You take them with the spread. I might even be tossing in a 0.65. I think they might win by a touchdown at least. But it could be
bold.
a close game.
That's
it's a
bold.
rivalry. It's on the road, but you got to ride the -2.5. I promise you, these boys will bring home the dub.
So I think the most underrated thing for Cleveland is that the defense. I know I actually made fun of them coming in, right? I said they weren't going to have the lowest score, the fewest points allowed or something, even though they had great odds, according to FanDuel. Man, I was wrong. That defense is fierce. Up front is an absolute monster. I love that the Myles Garrett dribbling between his legs to start off a play is going viral. And then, he just is messing around, goofing, having a great time, and he immediately blows by the center who's watching him do it. So I'm just all in on this Browns defense. The pass rush is legit. It makes life easy for the corners who were just all up in T. Higgins and Jamar Chase's business. I know the weather had something to do with some of the overthrows, but I am just so excited, just top to bottom, for that defense to just absolutely shut people down. I thought the offense and Deshaun Watson would carry him a little bit. I think this defense and Nick Chubb with Deshaun Watson making a couple splash plays, I'm more excited than I was for the Browns to start the year. And everyone knows I was hyping them as a potential division winner. So can't wait for Monday Night Football.
Just want to add one other thing about them. Schwartz and Hopkins got the game ball from Stefanski after that win last week. And those two new additions to the team stepped up big. I mean, Hopkins, everything right down the middle in rainy conditions. Schwartz dialing up the blitzes, but I mean, even just letting the front seven do their thing, let the secondary play man to man. That's how this defense has been supposed to run for the last 2 or 3 seasons, and we just haven't had the right coach to use it. We're using it right. I love it. I'm all in on this Browns defense.
All right, that's enough of being a Cleveland Browns podcast. I do love the Browns, but we are here to talk about more than that. And most importantly, is going to be my number one pick outside of that. And that's the team that just got beat, because I believe in Joe Burrow. I'm never giving up on this button. The Bengals were absolutely humiliated. It's always forgotten that Joe Burrow has a bad case of tiny hand syndrome. I think he has the smallest hands in the league, right above Kenny Pickett. And when the weather is not playing too nicely, it just comes out and makes him look worse. However, I think they rebound strong against Baltimore as 3.5-point home favorites. Baltimore, I did not like the way they looked against Houston. Zay Flowers was definitely impressive, but they lost their left tackle. And then they lost Marcus Williams, who I'm not sure if Mark Andrews will be back, but I am just really, really worried about what Baltimore is, the fragility of their players. I mean, they also lost J.K. Dobbins, their star running back. So who knows who they are? Zay Flowers is the only thing I know that they have on offense. And, Lou Anarumo is one of the best at keying in and taking away players. And then back to the Bengals on offense. I believe in Joe Burrow. He's going to bounce back. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. It's just too much star power for a already beat up and a team that they know really well. Ken, looks like you also have the Bengals. Anything else to add?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I have a lot of same picks as Phil this week. Not saying he's right, but I'm right. But yes, I still like Cincinnati. What more so, I agree. I was just not a fan of the Baltimore Ravens pass heavy, downfield attack. I mean, Lamar Jackson, I like the QBR stat, Phil. You can destroy it later if you want. That's the one that's out of 100. Lamar Jackson's was 13.6. He had an interception and 169 yards last week. Yes, it was against Houston. Yes, they didn't need to, but that game was close for longer than you'd expect. It was within one score for most of the game. But I don't know. Yeah, Zay Flowers looked great. Mark Andrews wasn't there, of course. But without J.K. Dobbins, I just do not believe in that offense. Like I told you before, I think they're going to end up being a run-heavy team by the end of the year. They were a run-heavy team week 1. But you take away J.K., yeah, you have Gus Edwards. I think they're going to call up Melvin Gordon from the practice squad. I just don't. I don't think they're going to score. I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Joe Burrow. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, they're not going to be slow forever. So Yep, I'm all in on Cincy week 2.
You notice Ken doesn't believe in them as much though, because he doesn't have his button. Just saying. Anthony, what's your next best pick?
So I have the Bears to bounce back week 2 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. I just think Chicago, tough rivalry game against the Packers. They didn't know what to expect with Jordan Love. He's new quarterback. You only seen him a couple of times. You've seen preseason tape, but that Packers defense, everyone forgot. They loaded up in the offseason, and they looked good. And I think going up against Tampa's defense, they're a little bit softer. It's in Tampa. Baker came away with a very rough game last week, but he got it done. I think the Bears are getting points on the road. It makes sense getting those points, but Fields has got to make a bounce back. We saw a little bit of what they can do. I think he's going to recover week 2. It's more of like, oh, this can't happen 2 weeks straight. This team can't look this bad 2 weeks straight. So,
all right. So bouncing off of that, we're going to head over to the Packers in Atlanta, where Anthony's riding with the Packers, and Ken and I have the home underdog, Atlanta Falcons, at plus 1.5. So, Anthony, you're picking for the Bears because they looked bad, but you're also siding with the Packers, who you're probably thinking maybe looked a little too good. At least that's what I think.
well, and this is another thing where I think that Packers defense looks good, and I think if you shut down the run against the Falcons, they're going to have a hard time passing when you shut down that run. I think that's really a big part of their game right now. And they're versatile. It is what it is, but I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a very close game. I think the Packers can pull away by more than a field goal. It's a toss up, but I mean, I'm riding with this Packers defense. It's a ride or die right now, and I don't usually love the ride or die, but I have a feeling about this game.
Ken, why do you like the Falcons?
Real quick, Phil, just in case you're wondering what I got right here all the time, I also believe in Joe Burrow.
It took you a minute, though. See, I was ready. All right?
Well, let me tell you, Justin Fields has tons of talent. He also makes tons of mistakes, and the Packers defense capitalized on that. And this game is number 1 on my list of I don't want to watch. It's going to be boring. But Atlanta, you're going to see a lot of running. I think you're going to see a lot of punting. I don't think you're going to see a lot of scoring in this game. I think that both these teams won off of turnovers, off of good field position, and I think that Atlanta's going to make less mistakes. Jordan Love doesn't have as much. Not that it doesn't matter. There's tons of experience, but Arthur Smith's boring. He's not going to put him in dangerous positions. I think that Jordan Love will be the one to make more mistakes. I don't think that they have as many weapons, especially with Aaron Jones dealing with a hammy injury. So if he's limited, you don't know what's going to happen. I just think that it's going to be a slugfest, and Atlanta will come out on top.
Yeah. So I am with you where it's Justin Fields made way too many mistakes. And it's just the nature of the Bears. And the Packers were taking advantage. And then defensively, the Bears made all these moves. However, Aaron Jones humiliated them. Now Aaron Jones has a popped hammy. And I don't think Jordan Love's that good. He was like 15 for 27 or 29 for 250 yards. That's great, right? But 3 passes made up like 100 of those yards. It's a complete inflation of his performance, and it was just all thanks to the defense setting him up with short fields to take advantage and score, and his play and Aaron Jones really making great plays. There was tight end Luke Musgrave, I think, got behind the defense and was standing there open for a couple seconds, and Jordan Love did break out of pressure and make a nice throw. But I mean, the guy was open for a while, and it was a late throw realistically. However, it ended up working out. So I am just not in on the Packers, and they won't be able to capitalize against Atlanta because any fantasy owner for Atlanta knows they don't use their weapons. They don't use their top 10 pick in Drake London. They don't use their top 10 pick in Kyle Pitts. They do feature Bijan Robinson, but even he had less touch-ins than Tyler Algier. I can't stand Arthur Smith. I think he's put a huge cap on this Falcons team. However, I don't like the Packers even more at this point because I think they're way too overrated, and the Falcons just play a style that is too conservative for Green Bay's good defense to take advantage of. Plus, it's at home in Atlanta. The size, speed, and athleticism definitely, is on their side with Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Christian Watson being questionable, and Aaron Jones already being beat up. So Atlanta's the way to go. Anthony, you're wrong. Ken, great job once again. All right, Ken, what's your next pick?
I got a lot of picks, but my next favorite one, and should be an obvious one for everyone. I don't know why I'm the only one to have it, but Kansas City -3. Guys, Kansas City is not starting the year 0-2. They did not show up. Now this Travis Kelce, bone bruise, that should be a 2 to 3 week injury. Travis Kelce also plays through just about everything. Yes, last week he was not very close. I don't know if you guys want to go into injury things, but they tested him in the water where there's a lot less pressure, gravity. Didn't do well there. Wasn't close last week, but they still said it was a game day decision. It wasn't. But I actually think that he'll play. I think that he wants to play through this, and he doesn't want to see his team go down 0-2. He is a competitor, but even without that, Pat Mahomes is not going to let that happen. Anthony Richardson looked very good against this Jags defense, and he is not the MVP of the league. I think that Jacksonville can keep up scoring wise, but Mahomes going to come out on top. He just needs a few guys to catch passes, and I think whoever he finds, if they're catching them, he'll keep throwing them. Sorry, man, Kadarius Toney not going to have a repeat. He can't possibly have a worse game. I think he actually statistically had the worst game of all time as a wide receiver.
Not statistically, because he didn't have he didn't have negative yards. He didn't have a fumble, but
his points per target were -2. Every single time he got a target,
it was so bad.
The other team scored 2 points.
He was playing drop out there.
But Ken, does this matter to you? Travis Kelce has reportedly been quietly hanging out with Taylor Swift.
That means he'll be more motivated. Actually, I might.
Are you sure he's not gonna, mooch off his sugar mama and just say, "I'm done, I'm walking away"?
He's pulling the Rodgers. He's faking an injury. He's leaving the league.
I don't know what you guys heard. Kelce is an ultra competitor. He needs to stay on her level. Let's do KC -7.
I'm all in now, knowing that he needs to win even more.
All
right. Hey, T Swift's on a huge tour right now. He's got to live up to that.
Who was the Lakers guy that she said, there was a rumor that she was with, the nerdy looking dude?
I have no idea. Is it Austin Reeves? Don't even say it's
Austin Reeves.
I think so.
Oh my gosh.
Now that's Travis Kelce's more of a win than Austin Reeves. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So, all right, Anthony, what's your next best pick?
Let's see. Going down the line.
You got 2 left, I think.
I'm taking San Francisco -8 in LA. This is kind of risky just because it's on the road, but I think that 49ers offense is elite. It's Brock Purdy, still the man we knew he was last year, the man he is this year, starting off great against pretty good Pittsburgh defense, but made that Pittsburgh defense look silly. McCaffrey, still the best fantasy running back, maybe the best offensive player in the league still. Brandon Ayuk looking good. Didn't even need Kittle last week. Deebo Samuel still can make plays. This offense is completely scary against a Rams defense that wasn't really tested last week. Aaron Donald He's making plays. He's still balling out. But name me one other guy other than Aaron Donald on that defense. I can't. And I don't know. I'm not buying this Rams offense. Cooper Kuppless. Like, Cam Akers, he's a good running back, but is he going to tear up this San Fran defense? We know the San Fran defense is still elite. Like, we saw how good this team was last week. They covered 10 points easy against the Steelers. They're going to cover 10 points against the Rams, who we thought coming to the season was going to be a joke. They beat a Seahawks team that came out flat week 1, a team that overachieved last year, and this year they've got new players. The defense is kind of weak. They were supposed to be better. They're still trying to gel. I am not going to buy in on the Rams, even with the spread. I have to take the Niners here. I'm riding off last week.
I told Phil from last week my favorite stat of all of week 1 was Cam Akers 22 carries for 29 yards. Oh man, honestly, I don't think we could do much worse than that. That's pretty rough.
I don't know. I think a couple of us are getting hurt out there. We're pulling a Rodgers.
I've seen the turkey bowl. I'd walk out on the field and pull a hammy like, oh, I'm out, guys.
Hammies are gone. Yes.
I'm taking me on a bubble screen, but that's it. None of you guys.
Connor could get 1.3 yards per carry.
Yeah, actually, Connor probably could. But no, I wanted San Fran so bad because I'm with you. Like, overreactions is what one of the things I was looking for this week. But why do they have to be playing the Rams? It's like both teams are being overreacted to. So hopefully we get another blowout or the Rams keep it close and I can bet against them next week.
We can't say we're overreacting to the Niners when they made it all the way to the NFC Championship.
That's a good point.
Year,
I picked them to make the Super Bowl.
Only lost because they got hurt. Their quarterbacks, they were running the ball. They had a running back taking snaps under center in shock. Like, it was just this team. I don't know. They're going to prove everyone wrong again this week. I wanted to do it with Baltimore this week, but then they got riddled with injuries, and then I saw they were playing the Bengals. I'm like, I don't trust it. It's in Cincinnati. Had to stay away from them. It's a similar situation, but the Rams are still a dumpster fire. Like, Aaron Donald has said he's trying to ball out right now, and everyone knows why. He doesn't want to be in LA anymore. He knows what's happening. They're trying to rebuild. McVay doesn't even want to be there. Like, if your head coach doesn't want to be there, I don't know. Like, the hope for their season isn't going to stay alive just because they beat the Seahawks week 1, they're a hit or miss team. Like, they're a 500 team at best. And if they end up making the playoffs, it's because they're in a crappy NFC conference that you can slip in at wild card with a 9-win record.
All right, that is a perfect transition to my next pick, and that's the Seahawks plus 5.5. I can't agree with you any more than this team is just the epitome of average, and they're going to beat some good teams. They're going to lose to bad teams, but they are road underdogs at Detroit. 5.5 points is the spread. That is an indoor field built for speed, just like the Seahawks are. That's DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, JSN, Kenneth Walker. I think the Lions are going to be coming off of, the Super Bowl for them. That was like beating the Chiefs in week 1 was a huge win. They were all hyped for that game. That game was everything to them. I think people are way too excited. That is a nationally televised game. And so it's one of the big, most watched games. People are going to be overreacting, putting too much money, saying Detroit's here now. They're the best. KC was without 2 of their best players. Now, I know Seattle just got torched by Puka Nacua, who is like a 5th-round rookie, play in the slot, and just absolutely humiliating them. Now they go against Amon-Ra St. Brown, who will probably do the same. But I think the Seahawks offense will be lighting it up too. I am not too sold on what I saw from Detroit's defense. I know they held the Chiefs to 20, but like I said, the Chiefs were missing Kelsey. There was tons of missed opportunities by Chiefs receivers. So I am in on Seattle, not making those same mistakes. DK Metcalf, I think, has a huge game on the rebuilt secondary for Detroit. Secondaries like that where you get these average guys are great when you play average and below average receiving cores like they did KC last week. However, when you play a good one, your guys are just outmatched. And DK Metcalf, I think, is just going to be a monster. Have one or two big plays, and it be enough. I'm not saying Seattle's winning. I'm saying they're keeping it close enough to cover 5.5 points.
I like that.
That's right, you do. All right, Ken, you've been quiet. What do you got next?
Let's see. Going off of the Aaron Rodgers injury, I got the Jets and Cowboys. I'm taking the under. So, truth is, we didn't get to see the Dallas offense. They didn't need to play. By the time they started playing, they were up 14-0 on a team that couldn't move the ball, couldn't score. They didn't have to. Tony Pollard looked fine. Dak looked fine. There's no pressure whatsoever. The Jets' defense is legitimate. They made Josh Allen look bad. They I don't know. James Cook actually looked pretty good. It'll be interesting to see what Tony Pollard does. I think they're similar backs, but Tony Pollard is just the sort of next step up. But I don't think that this game's going over. Whatever the Jets do, I don't know if they're getting a quarterback. You got to assume that Zach Wilson's going to be playing. They're going to say, hey, Breece Hall looked good. Dalvin Cook can, run the ball, and he caught some passes out of the backfield. You're going to see a nice, boring game. You're going to see a lot of punts. You're going to see, I think, teams that are going to not move the ball too much. I also don't, yes, Dak Prescott can throw interceptions. Zach Wilson certainly can. But I think that you're going to see just ultra conservative, slow play, and a nice under game. That's just what I think. That Dallas, how much are they getting? Like 9, 10, 12, whatever it is. If you wanted to take them, sure. But I think the safe bet here is the under.
I'm not betting with you, but I like your reasoning there. I hate the Cowboys offense. It's pretty well known. And then I like the Jets defense, and I don't think they're going to try to do anything offensively. I think that's going to be just a dreadful game to watch.
Yeah, I think I think the Jets want to win 13-9.
Yeah. All right, just going to wrap up my picks with the Chargers -3. I will be writing on this one. And the bottom line is I picked this team to win the division. Started off good with the KC lost, and then, like I had the bet on with the Dolphins, I knew they were going to lose, but now they bounce back. Tennessee, I thought was way worse than I expected coming into the year. I don't know how they covered the 3-point spread against New Orleans. I feel like New Orleans should have absolutely had, it should have been like a 24-10 game with how poorly Ryan Tannehill played. Derrick Henry was the only productive player offensively. The Titans defense was impressive, specifically up front. But I think the Chargers offense, yes, they ran the ball a lot. I know, Ken, you messaged me. You were like, why aren't they throwing the ball deep? I'm like, they ran the ball 30 times for 200 yards. What better offense is there than 7 yards carry? So I think, though, that the Titans will shut down that run game just the way they did against the Saints. And we are going to see the Kellen Moore Chargers offense come out and, pepper underneath and then hit a couple big shots over the top. I'm really excited for this game. Chargers -3. And we finally get to see the Chargers start to put it together. Something else, people are against Brandon Staley and this awful, awful Chargers defense that's been showing up. I'm just going to say week 1, we always overreact to everything. And we know Mike McDaniel's brilliant. We know the Dolphins have immense talent and speed on the outside. Give the guy a break for not being ready for Tyreek Hill to absolutely demolish him. It happens to people all the time, even the best D coordinators. I think they bounce back and they can be, an above average defense the rest of the way. And they start showing it against what should be one of the worst offenses in the NFL this year.
I completely agree with you. I also took the Chargers. And yes, a lot of this has to do with my preseason pick for them to win the division as well. Justin Herbert to win MVP. You're not going to win. I mean, you could win MVP if you start off 0-2, but it looks better if you start showing up. Yeah, I was mad. I have Justin Herbert in quite a few leagues, and I want him to do good, and he just didn't need to. So good for them. But no, the Tennessee Titans do not have the best secondary. They, hide it with a very aggressive pass rush and really strong seven up front. And the Chargers have been excellent at, essentially doing like the short, quick passes, taking advantage of teams with bad DBs, and also that gets the quarterback quick. They have a really quick release. This is the Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler special. I don't know if Mike Williams, how bad Mike Williams is hurt. I saw he got hurt at some point in the game. Doesn't matter. Going to be irrelevant. Keenan Allen looked good. Austin Eckler is going to be there. You guys are in my fantasy leagues. Don't care. I like Josh Kelly. I'm definitely going to try to pick him up. We'll see what happens. But I think that you're just going to see an outclassed Tennessee team here.
All right, Anthony, I think you're the one with the pick left. How you finishing?
I do like that Chargers pick, by the way. But my last pick of the week was the over in the Miami-New England game, and I'm surprised you guys didn't ride along with that. I think Miami's defense is a little bit, if not a lot, worse than what Philly's defense is. And Philly's defense started to fold against New England and let Mac Jones start to tear it up. And New England didn't really even have to run the ball. I saw it was a lot of yards in the air, a lot of Mac Jones. And then we know what Miami could do. I mean, even Belichick, one of the best defensive minds in the game, I don't think can stop this offense. I think they're going to pick right back up where they left off week one. Tyreek Hill is probably going to have a little less good of a game, but you can't limit that guy. Waddle might waddle his way into more points, more production. Might see the ball ran more, but 46.5 points, I think that's doable. I think that's very easy to go over. I think this game could very well end up in a shootout. The Patriots are going to want to try to run the ball. They're going to try to run the ball early. Hopefully the Dolphins can make one or two stops. If they just play good man coverage, get a couple 3-and-outs, score a couple touchdowns, go up early, that game will hit the over.
I just have some advice for Bill Belichick out there. I know he will be listening to the podcast, but stop giving Zeke the ball. You have 14 other guys on the offense that are better at football than Zeke, for sure. Ramondre Stevenson is a young, better version of Zeke. Just try that.
I was about to say I'm excited for Ramondre this week. We have him on the best ball team. He was disappointing last week, but still ended with a solid week because he had like 5 catches for 62 yards in garbage time. But I think he bounces back after we saw what the Chargers running game did to the Dolphins. They have good pass rushers, but they are thin because they love to use their speed. So I think Ramondre can actually have a big game.
I am interested. Bill Belichick's whole defense is like, take away the best option on the offense, and I'm gonna say I don't know if you can do that to Tyreek Hill. I think he's legitimately too fast to game plan out. So
PFF pointed this out. PFF pointed this out, and they started using Tyreek Hill in half motions because they realized if you bring a guy across the formation in motion, the defense can react because it takes him so long to run from one side of the field to the other. But they started doing him in like the slot and then sprinting him outside and then having him come back with a quick in or something and just jerky motions to whoever's guarding him. And it's just so fast that it's like literally impossible to guard. So Mike McDaniel, hats off to him for coming up with something, so creative. We'll see if the Patriots can do anything. I'm good. I got my 5 picks. I'm content there. All right. So Connor is not here, but he did get 1 pick in, or 1 extra pick in. He's with us on the Browns, just like everyone. But he has the Raiders +9 in Buffalo. So he says Josh Allen's going to blow it just the way he did last night or Monday Night Football. And then Jimmy G is going to game manage this to be within 10 points, essentially. He doesn't care about winning. This is about beating the spread, and 9 points is too many for someone who can control the ball the way Jimmy G does. All right, I just got to ask you guys. Josh Allen, obviously everyone's coming out and killing him because, on the year he averages 4 turnovers a game. Do you believe in him to bounce back and still be a top 5 quarterback? Or is this like, you know what, we're done with him. This is what he does.
I think I'm still in on Josh Allen, not because I picked him to win the AFC Championship in our previous podcast, but just you see the throws that he makes. I mean, he hits some that you just can't see. He gets these third down conversions that just you think are stuck. You're like, okay, they're ready to punt. No. He needs 7. He rushes for 12. Like, I just think that he just brings so much more, and that Bills defense is so good that I'm not too concerned. Actually, if I had to pick one more for the week, I'm not going to, but it would be the Bills to cover, just because that's how much I do not believe in Las Vegas.
Hey,
Anthony, any thoughts
now.
on Jalen?
I am with Connor on that +9. I think they are going to cover, like you said. Jimmy G managing the game. I think it's gonna work because they got the number 1 rushing fantasy running back from last year, Josh Jacobs, who looks good this year already. So I mean, as long as they can run the ball, eat up the clock, keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands for a majority of the game, I think they'll be good. I mean, it's in Buffalo. That's a little scary, but I am not giving up on Josh Allen. I also did draft him in one league, but he is a top 5 fantasy quarterback when he's on his game. Everybody has bad games besides Patrick Mahomes. He's not perfect, and we've seen that before, but they're not going to go 0-2. They're going to find a way to win that game, but it's going to be very close. I think it's just going to be I think it's going to be one of those ugly games. It's probably good to bet the under in that one too, because like I said, I think they're going to try to run the ball, Vegas, and the Bills. They'll play their game. They're going to run. They're going to run with Josh Allen. Maybe try to give Cook the ball a little bit more, but they're going to hit some deep passes, score, and then Vegas is going to have to respond a couple times, and I think they will.
So I was just going to bring up that like 2 or 3 years ago, Josh Allen had a similar game, except it was against the Jags defense when they were one of the worst teams in the NFL. And it was just like, couldn't do anything right. And it just happened. NFL players have those games. Joe Burrow had that game against the Browns. You can't convert a first down. You can't hit a throw. Everything's just awful. So I'm with you guys. Like, I believe in Josh Allen to still be a top tier quarterback. I hate that everyone's coming out and they're like, hey, this guy's actually awful. He can't win big games. He can't do this. He can't do that. He's in the hardest conference. He's led the Bills to be, an A team. And I'm sorry that they're just not on the same level as, the Chiefs and the Bengals. However, as a Browns fan, I would kill to have Josh Allen as our quarterback over Deshaun Watson still. So just a little benchmarking you should do there.
I think I texted Phil or texted the group that the stat Josh Allen's now 0-5 all time in overtime games, regular and postseason, and I couldn't believe that. That's insane. So certainly, not what you'd expect to see, but I'm okay with that. I'm still believing in him. Yes, and I'll take him over Deshaun Watson. Man, wow.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Jets defense, let alone that defense, that secondary is so good. Like, he threw some deep balls that were up for grabs and then got picked. Like, that defense is so good. Don't cut him some slack, guys. Cut him some slack.
All right, so with that, thank you guys for listening. Just a reminder to like and subscribe. JJ Watt rookie card subscription. 100 subscribers. We will give this thing away. I know I keep saying that, but that's just because we're not at 100 subscribers yet. So
yeah, what are you guys doing? Hit the button.
Yeah,
just do it.
Thank you so much for listening again. Let us know what you think of our picks. If you have any fantasy questions, we are always ready and happy to help. just a reminder, best ball, number 1 team in our division or conference or however you want to grade the tournament style plays that they have on DraftKings.
Our fantasy teams are collective 13-3 so far, guys. Listen to us.
All right, Anthony, just one more time. Can you play Cleveland Rocks so we can get going?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks again, guys. All right.